on the sickle cell disease documentary.
Dr. Believe Seyram Agbo is a medical doctor at Zoe Royal Hospital.
When we talk about sickle cell disease, it's a group of diseases and it's an inherited condition where one will inherit an abnormal hemoglobin, of which one is an S. So when we talk about hemoglobin, someone will ask, where can we find it? Where is it? And with hemoglobin, we find it in our red blood cells. And with the red blood cells, we have a protein called hemoglobin, and that carries oxygen throughout our whole body. So we have a normal form, which is very, very normal, which is hemoglobin A. So we have abnormal forms of that hemoglobin. So usually, for one to be classified as having the sickle cell disease, that person should have an abnormal hemoglobin, of which one is an S. So we can have different types of that. We can have hemoglobin SS. We can have hemoglobin SC. We can have hemoglobin S-beta thalassemia. These are the very common ones of sickle cell disease. And if you look at how the red blood cells are, naturally they span about 70 to 120 days before they die off in the body. But if someone has sickle cell disease, the shape of their red blood cells becomes usually like a C or a farm tool that we call sickle. So usually the lifespan of that red blood cell doesn't take that long. Usually it lasts for about 10 to 20 days, which can result in a lot of complications and a lot of problems with them having shortage in their red blood cells. And also, we could also say that someone has a sickle cell trait. In that regard, I made mention that we have the normal hemoglobin is called hemoglobin A. So with the very first one, if a person has a sickle cell trait, that means that the person has a normal form of hemoglobin and an abnormal form of hemoglobin. So the person may possess a hemoglobin A and an S. So that person, we don't call that person as having a sickle cell disease, but we say the person have a sickle cell trait, which is quite common. And these people, they usually do not have any forms of problems associated with that as compared to the sickle cell disease group. And one may ask, how will this cause about, or how does this come about? This, as I said earlier on, is an inherited condition. It's a genetic condition. So we inherit these conditions from our parents. So in either ways, you can inherit an abnormal one from one parent and another abnormal from another parent. So if both parents are a country where we are very prone to malaria and things like that, it usually happens. And also we can also say that with the symptoms, they usually have symptoms that has to do more with the blood. I said earlier on that with the normal red blood cells, the span or their lifespan is from 70 to about 140 days, which is averagely 120 days. So they can be in the blood for 120 days. But with a sickle cell disease, their red blood cell can only survive from 10 to 20 days. So around that time, imagine the red blood cells are supposed to be carrying oxygen in and around through the body.
Of affecting most essential parts of the body.
There are a lot of complications that has to do with sickle cell. And one organ that it usually affects is the spleen. Yeah, one organ that usually affects is when we call it splenic sequestration. It's when I said that the cells are round in shape. But usually in sickle cell, they begin to form S or they are in a C form. So as they are like that, they can't easily flow. So depending on the organ or depending on the part where that blockage is formed, they begin to experience that pain. So usually there are people that if it is with their eye, if there's any blockage to their eye, they experience a lot of problems with that. If it is to the brain, it can even result in stroke, because around that time enough oxygen cannot get to the brain, so that person can end up having stroke. Some can have eye loss, some can have kidney damage, liver damage, a whole lot of things, including the hips, the bones, the joints, everywhere it can be in that regard. And some also, they've lost their life as a result of sickle cell disease too.
What is the hope for people living with sickle cell disease? Can they also live a long, healthy and happy life like any other individual?
With the sickle cell disease, you can live a very normal life, provided you are doing whatever you are supposed to do, which includes, one, you should make sure that you are always hydrated. You take in lots of water. At least you take about 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, so that it helps with the circulation, because the little thing that you do will trigger the formation of that sickling. So you make sure you stay hydrated, you eat very well, you take in lots of vegetables, you take in lots of fruits, you minimize your exercising, you do moderate exercise, a little breaks walking is okay. You try as much as possible to take folic acid regularly. If you have sickle cell disease, you are supposed to be regularly checked at any health facility. You shouldn't wait that, oh, okay, I have sickle cell, that's all. You are supposed to be regularly checked at any health facility. And also, you try as much as possible that during the cold seasons, you have to stay warm. And you prevent yourself from malaria. If you know you live in endemic areas and you have sickle cell disease, you try as much as possible. If it is treated bed net, you have them. If it is mosquito repellent, you try to use, and all of that. And basically, you can live a normal life, have your children grow old and all of that. Very necessary, very necessary, because you don't want to bring a child into this world that every now and then the child is suffering, and as a mother or as a father, you can't actually help your child out. So whenever you want to get married, or even as you are an individual, you are single, you are now searching, you don't even have a husband, or you don't even have a spouse yet, you need to know your status. You need to walk to any laboratory to just know, okay, I want to check my genotype. So if you know you are
For more documentary, as you think of relationship and marriage, please pass by any medical lab to check your genotype to make the right choice. My name is Ayesu Isaac, a broadcast journalist based in Accra, Ghana.